So our February staff meeting is going to be an MTSS staff update. We'll go over a few slides and let you know things we're working on as it pertains to reading and behavior. Here's a list of the members on the team. You see the reading team and then the PBIS team along with the building coaches. There is some crossover between the teams that is intentional so that we can have some common conversations at some of these meetings to make sure that we are aligned with both reading and math as it pertains to MTSS. Today, a couple things we're going to look at: the current status of the school-wide PBIS efforts, defining a school-wide reading model, why does this matter to us, and then the next steps for the school-wide reading model. So first, the school-wide positive behavior intervention and supports. We started this in fall of 2018, and then we relaunched it again in January of this past year, or of this year. Each year, we look at the TFI. It's a fidelity inventory. We go through and answer questions as a team, and it kind of gives a ranking of where we fall as far as making sure that we have everything in place to ensure that we have a solid system. The target for this is 70% or higher on the Tier 1 scale. So we just recently completed this. We'll complete it again in September. As you can see on the next slide, it shows the results. So our current Tier 1 score is 73%, which is great. You can see over the course of time since 2018, we have steadily gone up. We did have a dip in there and then bounced right back January of this year. So from that, we create a SMART objective, and our plan for this is implement Tier 1 with fidelity by maintaining a score of at least 73% on the Tier 1 scale of the school-wide PBIS inventory by spring break 2020, resulting in a decrease of office discipline referrals. So what that means is that hopefully by having all of these boxes checked that we have, that we're being making sure that we're using all the resources appropriately, we're keeping track of everything, we have everything in place, that will then impact office discipline referrals. So we go through a similar process with reading, filling out a TFI. We also meet as a team, go through the inventory checklist, kind of rank where we are. The ranking system for both fidelity checklist is a 0, 1, or 2. 2 being everything is in place, 1 almost there, then 0 not in place. I think we try to be as honest as possible because we want to ensure that we have opportunity for growth and that we aren't kind of fooling ourselves in anything. So when you look at the reading, I guess it's not very surprising. Currently we're at 33% versus we saw PBIS was at 73%. We've been doing MTSS with PBIS for a little bit longer, so we were able to get some of those pieces put in place earlier. So now for reading, it's about making sure that we have all the pieces in place and then making sure that we're continuing to work on that. So by May of 2020, the goal is to be at 50%, or we will be 50% completed with the TFI. Professional learning that's connected to the school-wide reading model. The grade level team or the reading team goes to these problem-solving MTSS trainings, and then Lori Benson will offer DIBELS refresher in the winter or spring. So some of you may wonder, what is a school-wide reading model? So here we have the definition of that. Using and analyzing data to align evidence-based curriculum and instruction to ensure a continuum of support and positive outcomes for all learners. Here are some links to the legislation that's out there in regards to the third grade reading law. I'll let you read those real quick. So in this slide, we're saying, why does this matter to our school? So there's two passages here that I'll give you a second to read. So then you're asking yourself, okay, so where do we stand now? So we're looking at DIBELS here, not MAP. I think a lot of times with MAP, we can have the argument that there's a learning curve with doing an online assessment, whether or not how accurate that truly is. DIBELS is face-to-face. So you can see our fall percentage was 37% for kindergarten, 29 first, 43, and 53. And then our winter benchmarks. Those are the students that are at or above on the DIBELS assessment. It's not the type of growth we would like to see, but I think that gives us an opportunity to have some discussion as a reading team to see what our next steps would be. So the team has identified a few things, our areas of need, strengths. We have a knowledgeable staff who are ready and willing to find solutions for students and to support their success in behavior and learning. Grade level team work collaboratively to analyze data during PLCs in order to guide instruction. PLCs have been really good this year. I know at the beginning it was a bit cumbersome trying to learn the process, but I think as we've progressed and the frequency in which we've had them has really helped. And there's a lot of really good work coming out of all grade level PLCs that really added to the conversation the reading team had about a lot of these decisions. So some areas of growth that we feel: communicate changes in curriculum and expectations to the community, making sure parents are informed of what we're doing, what we're learning, how things have changed over time, to make sure that they're equipped at home to help out just as much as we're trying to help at school. Learn effective problem solving strategies, use of data. We have a lot of data. We talk about data all the time, so it's data. And I don't think we're at a lack of data to use or to look at, but I think possibly having some training on what data we need, actually focusing on specific data that impacts student learning instead of having so much to look at. And then once we identify those 1, 2, or 3 pieces, then it's practicing unpacking and what we're doing with that. Finally, systematic instructional changes to be more beneficial for student success. Maybe it's time to look at some more system things or some structural things that could impact students. I think we're really challenging ourselves as a reading team to not limit ourselves to what we have right now, but to say, okay, these are the resources we have. This is the time frame in which we have it. There's some other ways we could structure our day, structure our programming that would impact students' learning more. So finally, our next steps, we're going to develop and evaluate grade level instructional plans, secure and or develop resources to support our grade level instructional plans. So once we have a plan, make sure that everyone has the tools and necessary resources to implement it immediately. Learn and implement a data-driven problem-solving strategy. Again, that's going back to eliminating a bunch of data, identifying a few pieces of data, focusing on that data, and then really digging in and learning what we're looking at and what we're looking for with those. Evaluate systems and structures to make changes to benefit students and ensure their success. That goes back to what we were talking about with kind of, is what we're doing the best for our students, or is there another way, a better way? And then finally, making sure that everyone is always informed, parents, community members, so that we can maximize all efforts for student learning. This was a bit quicker than normal. This is, again, the MTSS update. There are 3 questions linked in the Padlet. Please, I need you to answer those 3 questions. Log into Padlet as your sign-in for the meeting, answer those questions, and then both the reading team, PBS team will go over those, and if any of those warrant or need any responses, we'll be sure to get back to you. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks.